We've seen plenty of Switch 2 consoles floating around stores recently, and somehow people have managed to buy them early. So I decided to visit 15 GameStop, Walmart, Target, and Best Buy locations to see if I could somehow get one early myself. But during my adventure, I discovered there's a problem with the Switch 2. So in this video, let me take you through my adventure and show you what happened. Now guys, we started our adventure here with a couple of Best Buys, and I'll take you through the first Best Buy here. And the first thing we walk in and see is, of course, a bunch of Switch 1 stuff, which is not too surprising, but there's still a pretty large glass case full of random Switch stuff. And then you turn around, and here's where it starts to get good. We see a couple Switch 2 banners, and they're kind of covering up some shelves here. So I had a little inkling, a little idea of pulling back the banner and seeing what's behind it. Maybe there's some Switch 2 consoles, games, accessories, I don't know. But I decided there were some Best Buy employees watching, aka this guy right here who was turning around. So I didn't really want to get too in-depth into it and get banned from the store or anything. So you'll see what I see behind the banners in the next Best Buy. But for now, this one, I just assumed there was nothing behind it. But it is kind of cool that they have some Switch 2 banners, and they are obviously advertising it a little bit. And then there's also this little tiny banner here that says Switch 2 console coming June 5th. And I did talk to an employee there. I think it was this guy here, maybe. I don't actually remember. But he had unfortunate news for me. He said that other than the pre-orders on midnight release, there probably wouldn't be any stock for like a month. So that was kind of unfortunate. But the second Best Buy was a little bit better here. So let me show you what I found here. And actually, the first thing I saw was pretty interesting. So I'm walking into the store, and I see these little poles here covered up by Switch stuff. And you'd think it'd be Switch 2 promotional stuff because the Switch 2 comes out in like a day or two. But no, it's just Switch 1 stuff. So that was weird. I saw that, and that's kind of you'll start to see a trend here as we go through my journey here. And then I walk inside, and the first thing I see are these 4 giant Switch 2 banners that are covering up the shelves, kind of like the last one, but a lot more space. What I decided to do was take a peek behind here because it was very easy to, and I looked behind, and unfortunately, I didn't really see anything. Now, I did see something right here. I don't know if that's a Switch 2 tag, a price tag or something, but I couldn't really see much back there. Maybe you guys can catch something else in that video there, but there was no Switch 2s behind there, unfortunately. There's also an end cap here with just regular Switches. Maybe something else hidden in there, but I didn't see anything. And then just off topic a little bit, I want to talk about how sad it is the PS5 section is in this Best Buy. There's like 15 total games here. Pretty sad. Also a dirty Series S, which is weird to see. And then Xbox Series X stuff here is like a total of, 20, 30 games maybe. So just very empty. But anyways, back to the Switch stuff. I talked to a guy there, and he said, kind of similar to the first guy, that they're going to have pre-orders at midnight, of course, on the launch date, but they don't know how many other consoles they're going to have. So they just don't know, and of course nothing in stock yet for me to buy. So that was unfortunate. Did not find anything at the Best Buys. Now next up, GameStop started to get a little bit better and a little bit more promising. Let me show you why. So here at the first GameStop, a little bit better than the Best Buys, where you walk up and you actually see some promotional advertisements in the front of the store. Anyways, we go inside, and you can see that this GameStop has started to make a little section for the Switch 2. Presumably, that's what it looks like. It's not for sure, but that's what it looks like here. A bunch of empty shelves. They also have this Switch 2 banner here on top of this plush stand. Like, I don't know what this has to do with the Switch 2, but that was kind of interesting to see. And looking around, I was trying to find maybe a Switch 2 slipped into this case or something, but no, it's just a bunch of old Switch stuff kind of jammed in there, including a ton of Switch OLED docks, which was interesting. But other than that, I couldn't talk to the employee there because the guy was like on a walkie-talkie talking to somebody in the back, I think scanning something, maybe for Switch 2. I really don't know, but I just left that one and went on to our next GameStop here, which was actually very similar. They had this Switch 2 banner on top of some more plushes and stuff. Again, I'm not sure what the deal with that is. I don't know what this has to do with Switch 2, but anyways, it also had a much larger section sectioned out for the Switch 2, I would assume. They also have the same Mario Kart World little poster there, but of course no Switch 2s out on the floor, unfortunately. Talked to the guy here as well, and basically the same thing as the poster said on the first GameStop, where it's like, yeah, come back at 3 p.m. and you can pre-order whatever, come pick it up at midnight. Now on to the third GameStop here, you can see, again, they have the same midnight release little poster here, and then zoom in now, you can see a bunch of Switch stuff over on the left-hand side, and then here in the middle, another little section of just emptiness, which I would assume is for the Switch 2, so very similar to the first GameStop we looked at. And they also had a little standing Mario Kart World poster. We also have a giant Switch 2 box, which was actually one of the coolest things here. And of course, they have the same Switch 2 little banner there. And again, I'm not sure why the Switch 2 banner is smaller than the Tony Hawk banner. Like, it's a brand new console. Why are there not like 4 posters in the windows, like really pushing this thing? I don't know. And that's, again, a theme you will see is I'm really surprised at how little the Switch 2 is being advertised in stores and stuff. Like, I don't know if regular people know about this thing because it's just not being advertised that much. But onto the fourth GameStop, we had a little bit of a different setup here. They actually have a whiteboard with games you can pre-order. Pre-orders coming up. They also have a pretty large section still of Switch stuff, and you can see way over here there is another little section kind of sectioned off for what I would assume is Switch 2 stuff. And again, it looks like they stuffed all of their old Switch stuff into this case here. Unfortunately, again, no Switch 2. It's just like hidden around for me to pick up, and the employee there was like, no, dude, you can't buy a Switch 2 before launch date, which is not too surprising. But again, just trying to see what happens, you know. Now, next up, we went to the Targets. We went to 5 Targets, and this is where things get really rough. So first Target we show up at, we walk in, and you know, you see 2 switches, a couple OLED switches just sitting there all lonely, which is kind of sad to see, honestly. And the end cap actually had a few more switches here and some accessories and just Switch games, but you'll notice here, there's no Switch 2 promotional advertisements or anything. Like, if you didn't know the Switch 2 was releasing, if you walked into a Target the day before the Switch came out, you would still have no idea, because they're just not advertising it at all for whatever reason. And you'll see that's a theme as you go through the Targets here. And of course, I actually tried to find somebody there to ask him, like, hey, are you going to have the Switch 2 at all? Do you have it right now? And couldn't even find an employee, which is kind of weird for a Target. Next up, we go to another Target here, and kind of the same deal. They have a pretty large Switch section, but it's all just Switch 1 stuff. You can see here there's a bunch of accessories, but they're all accessories for the original Switch. There's no tags or anything. And yeah, just going through, kind of sad, because again, no Switch 2 promotional items for 2 Targets in a row. And again, tried to find an employee here, but also could not find one at this place, which again was kind of weird. There's just nobody even close to the electronics section. Now the third Target, walk in, we see this giant Switch section, and then you go into it, and we see some more Switch stuff. We see a couple Switch Lite consoles, and we see a couple little Switch guards here that might be sectioned off where they're going to put Switch 2 consoles. We're scrolling through, you see some more Switch stuff. No Switch 2 stuff, no Switch 2 promotional advertisements or anything, like no posters, no signs, no nothing, no employees in sight, literally nobody else is in the electronics section except for me. And at this point, I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm probably not going to find a Switch 2 today, but, like, am I even going to find any promotional items in these stores? Like, I've found so few so far, and the Targets are just barren, like, nothing at all. So now my sights have shifted a little bit. Like, okay, maybe I'll find a Switch 2. Probably not, but can I even find a Switch 2 sign? Like, it was like, what is going on here? And I go into the 4th Target here, and I'm going through, I'm like, okay, come on. Let's walk into here. Hopefully they have, like, at least one sign that says Switch 2 coming soon. But, guys, sure enough, we walk in and we see some, end cap of Switch stuff. We see Mario dancing on the pole, which is something. But then we see this area right here where it's like, okay, maybe they're gonna put some Switch 2 stuff here, but it's because it's barren. But there's no tags down here for the Switch 2. There's no signs again. So like, if you don't know the Switch 2 is coming out, you walk into Target and you still wouldn't know because they just aren't telling you. And for the 4th time actually, 4 Targets in a row, could not find an employee. Now, luckily on the 5th store, our luck changed a little bit, which I'll explain to you here just in a second. So first of all, I walk into the Switch aisle, and the first thing I see is a mom and her son testing out the Switch, and she's like asking them, like, yeah, do you like this one? You want to buy one? And I honestly think this is a situation where this mom and son probably has no idea the Switch 2 is coming out because there's no advertisement anywhere. Whereas if Target had like a little sign over there, maybe they would see it and be like, oh, I'll wait like 2 days for a Switch 2 instead of buying a Switch 2 and then instead of buying a regular Switch, and then in 2 days a Switch 2 comes out. But anyways, we'll keep going here. But you come a little closer to where they were standing, and there was actually a sign here. Not quite a Switch 2 sign, but like, if you know the Switch 2 is coming out and you see this sign, then you make some connections here. So you see more of what you love arriving soon. So you would assume they're putting all the Switch 2 stuff here. And again, something new is coming soon here as well. So very vague, like kind of disappointing. Again, there's no Switch 2 promotional advertisements at all except for something new is coming soon. And guys, last but not least, we went to 4 Walmart locations, and these were honestly a huge mixed bag. Saw a lot of interesting stuff. Let me just go ahead and start taking you through them. We'll start with this first Walmart here, which I actually had a return visit to because just because of what I saw. I'll explain it here in a second. But we walk into Walmart here and we actually see some stuff. So first of all, I see this giant Switch 2 thing that's actually, promoting the day it's available. It's promoting what it can do. It says a 7.9-inch screen. And of course, the other side advertises the one game they have, the Mario Kart World. And moving on, we got more Switch games. And you can see here there's some more Switch 2 advertisements. And guys, next up is where it starts getting really strange. So first of all, they were actually in the middle of putting up Switch 2 stuff like 2 days before it launched. Like while I was walking around, they were putting up stuff, and you'll kind of see there's this guy in a wheelchair here. I'll explain here in a second, but it was a weird situation. But first of all, you see these 2 posters right here, and then 5 minutes later I came back to the section and the 3rd poster was up. So like I said, they were in the middle putting stuff up as I was walking around this Walmart. Next up, I'm walking down the aisle and I see something strange. I see not only a Walmart employee that had like a badge and everything putting signs up, but there was also a random guy in a wheelchair with a red shirt on, like no Walmart attire at all, that was helping put the Switch stuff up, which was strange. Like I don't know I honestly have no idea what was going on here. I don't know why he was helping. I don't know if he's like off the clock and just like wanted to help Walmart out of the goodness of his heart. I don't know, but and I kind of left it alone and said like, I'm gonna come back to this Walmart later and take a look at it. And it was a good thing because you'll see what I found later. This one I walked into and I was feeling good. You know, I saw this sign at the front of the store, Mario Kart World, on the security system stand thing, and I'm thinking, man, they're gonna have Switch 2 consoles on the shelf here. So I'm walking through and I'm searching through, you know, are there Switch 2s hidden down here? Then the accessories, maybe some games are like hidden down here. Sure enough, no games, no accessories, no nothing. We do have a few little Switch signs, like we got this one here. We've got another one of the same ones here. We got this one up here. We also got one that's just laying down that hasn't been put up yet, or it fell over maybe. We also got this one here, and then this is where it gets weird. We have this sign for $238, which I think was for this TV, and there's a random Mario Kart World sign attached to it. Like I don't know why it's put there. It's like, I guess it's kind of cool, but it's just random to attach it to a TV sign. Then the other side of it said Daisy, or showed Daisy. And walking out, we had another security system sign, which was cool. But this next Walmart we walked into, this one was honestly very disappointing. We walk into it, and you can see we're looking around. We see some Xbox stuff, and we see some PlayStation stuff. We see some Switch stuff, but there's no sign of Switch 2 stuff anywhere. And again, in classic Walmart fashion, nobody in sight to talk to that could help me at all. But guys, let's go back to the first Walmart because this is where my luck changes a little bit. Let me explain. So I walk back in and I see the signs have been finished putting up. This was the one they were putting up actively when I was in there, and it's up there now. And then I zoom in closer and I'm like, holy crap, I see tags, which is like, it's not a big deal, but like based on my luck for the day, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm seeing some tags, $54 for Joy-Cons, $84 for Pro Controller, $94 for the pair, which like I forgot these prices were so high. That feels a little bit absurd, but anyways, we'll gloss past that. And I actually saw we have some micro express cards here for the Switch, which is cool to see. You can see it says Switch 2, and I keep looking around and I find even more stuff for the Switch 2. You can see a gaming headset for the Switch 2. You can see racing wheels for the Switch 2. You can see a carrying case here for the Switch 2. You see a screen protector here for the Switch 2. We even got some controllers over here that are apparently compatible with the Switch 2, so kind of cool to see. And here is even something even cooler, in my opinion. We looked here and you see like this light dangling through. Take a closer look. They actually have tags for the consoles. So you got the Mario Kart bundle there. You got the regular bundle here for $449. And I turn around and sure enough, they even have tags for the games as well. So you can see Cyberpunk, Hitman, Hogwarts Legacy, all the games basically. So not a ton of games coming out of launch, but you can see some games there. Now, unfortunately, I did not see any other games, consoles, accessories for sale, except for those accessories we saw at the very end there. But guys, let me know what you think about this journey here. Honestly, very surprised that I'm just like not seeing any promotional items anywhere for the Switch 2. So we'll see how the launch does. And if you guys want to see another Switch 2 console that I got early, like a couple months ago, that was really weird, go check out this video. It's weird. Go watch it. And I'll see you guys next time.